Pro Homes, 301-433-SELL. That's 301-433-SELL.
Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. When did the president know? After telling the American people while on Air Force One that he did not know about any payment to Stormy Daniels. Tonight, President Trump now acknowledging he did reimburse his lawyer for that hush money. The question's now, how long has he known, and was that payment an effort to help him win the election? The president's new attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and what he said that surprised so many.
Oh, I didn't know he did.
Also breaking tonight, Michael Cohen, whose office, home, and hotel room were raided. This evening, ABC News has now learned the FBI was monitoring Cohen's calls even before the raid. Who he was calling, who was calling him. Also tonight, the police officer suspended just hours after this video was made public. The suspect handcuffed and on the ground, the officer kicking him in the head. Several states bracing for severe storms as we come on the air. From Texas up to the Northeast, Rob standing by with the new track. The deadly mall shooting late today, images now coming in from the scene. Several officers in the hospital tonight after responding to a call, the explosion, while they were at the home. And the new alert coming in from Twitter tonight, what they want all of their users to do right now.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Thursday night. And we do begin with two major stories involving the president tonight, acknowledging for the first time that he did reimburse his lawyer, Michael Cohen, for that payment to Stormy Daniels, after the president said not long ago on Air Force One he knew of no such payment. This new revelation comes after the president's new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, went on cable news last night and declared the president did in fact pay back Cohen for the hush money. It left the White House scrambling today to explain this moment, when exactly the president knew about all this, given what he told the American people on board Air Force One. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl leading us off tonight.
Today, for the first time, President Trump acknowledged he reimbursed his lawyer, Michael Cohen, for the $130,000 payoff to porn star Stormy Daniels. Last month, the president flatly denied knowing anything about the hush money.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make it if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
Cohen claimed he paid Daniels out of his own pocket. What we didn't know until now, President Trump paid him back out of a personal account. The president's new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, broke that news on Fox, seeming to surprise even Sean Hannity, as he argued the payment didn't violate campaign finance law.
That money was not campaign money. Sorry, I'm giving you a fact now that you don't know. It's not campaign money. No campaign finance violation.
So they funneled it through the law firm.
Funneled through a law firm, and the president repaid it.
Oh, I didn't know he did.
Yep.
Stormy Daniels signed the hush agreement just 11 days before the election, but Giuliani insisted the payment had nothing to do with the campaign.
But it wasn't for the campaign. Right. It was to save their not their marriage as much as their reputation.
Still minutes later, he suggested the hush agreement was about the campaign after all.
Imagine if that came out on October 15th, 2016, in the middle of the last debate with Hillary Clinton.
So to make it go away, they made this
Cohen
payment.
didn't even ask. Cohen made it go away. He did his job.
Now the White House is facing a crisis of credibility.
Did you know that the president did not tell the truth when he said that he didn't know about the payment?
Again, Mayor Giuliani has spoken at length about this both last night and this morning.
The denials about the hush money are the latest in a long list of statements by the president that have turned out to be untrue. When the president and the White House show what appears to be a blatant disregard for the truth, how are the American people to trust or believe what is said here or what is said by the president?
We give the very best information that we have at the time.
The press secretary said when the president issued his denial of Air Force One, he did not yet have all the facts.
As Mayor Giuliani stated, this wasn't something that was initially known, but later learned.
He started paying back Michael Cohen back in February of last year. I mean, the reimbursement was happening long before the president was asked about this.
Is that a question or?
But I'm saying, I mean, how could he not have known? He was paying him back.
Again, I'm not going to get into those details.
John Carl with us live tonight from the White House. And John, I want to go back to something you reported right there. Rudy Giuliani saying this had nothing to do with protecting Trump just days before the election, nothing to do with the campaign. But then, as you also reported, Giuliani also said, imagine if this Stormy Daniels story came out in the middle of that last debate with Hillary Clinton. How do you reconcile the two?
Well, it's not easy. What they're saying is that this was about protecting the president or then the candidate from personal embarrassment, not political damage. That's an important distinction because if this was for political reasons, the payment could have violated campaign finance law.
John Carl live at the White House tracking this all for us. John, thank you. In the meantime, there was also breaking news involving the president's one-time lawyer and friend, Michael Cohen. Tonight, ABC News learning that Cohen's phone calls were being tracked, who he called, who called him, even before his home, his office, and his hotel room were raided. ABC's Kira Phillips tonight on that part of the story.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News that in the days leading up to that raid of the home, office, and hotel room of President Trump's personal attorney, federal investigators were tracking Michael Cohen's phone calls. It's called Pen Register. Investigators could see who he was calling and who was calling him, all in real time. But they were not wiretapping, not listening to any conversations. All part of a criminal investigation, in part looking at possible secret deals made during the campaign to protect Donald Trump.
Mr. Cohen, why do you think they raided your office and hotel room?
It's unclear how long before the raids investigators started tracking Cohen's phone calls. But sources tell ABC News Cohen and the president spoke just days after the raids, meaning that phone call could be on investigators' radar. Court filings already reveal prosecutors used warrants to search Cohen's emails covertly as part of their months-long investigation into possible criminal conduct. The president has railed against those raids.
It's a disgraceful situation. It's a total witch hunt.
Declaring attorney-client privilege is dead. Today, the White House wouldn't say if Cohen is still the president's attorney.
I'm not aware of specific places where he's representing the president.
So let's get to Kira Phillips with us live as well tonight. And Kira, as you reported there, federal investigators have logs of Cohen's phone calls. They've now gone through his emails. So where does this criminal investigation into Cohen stand tonight?
David, clearly there is mounting pressure on Michael Cohen. His personal finances and relationship with the president are coming under intense scrutiny. And tonight, sources close to Cohen vow that he will not flip on his most famous client. David?
Kira Phillips tonight. Kira, thank you. This evening, the police chief suspending an officer just hours after a video was made public, and we warn you, it is difficult to watch. It shows a suspect handcuffed on the ground when the officer runs up and kicks him in the head. Tonight, the state attorney in Florida is now investigating, and ABC's Victor Oquendo is in Miami.
It's what happened at the end of this arrest in Miami that has many outraged, and the city's police chief taking action. Down and being handcuffed, watch this Miami police officer come running into frame, kicking David Suazo in the head.
You ain't have to do all that, buddy.
Neighbors watching in shock while officers led him away.
Don't resist them, baby. Because they already beat him.
This woman, who wants to remain anonymous, filming it all.
Once he handcuffs him, then the other police just comes and runs right at him and just hits him like a football.
According to the arrest affidavit, Suazo was spotted in a stolen car this morning. When police tried to pull him over, he led them on a chase, eventually crashing and taking off running. This video posted on Facebook, and within hours, Miami PD taking swift action. The chief tweeting the video depicts a clear violation of policy. The officer has been relieved of duty, suspended, pending an investigation.
David, the suspect is facing several charges tonight, including grand theft, while prosecutors launch their own investigation into the officer's actions. David?
Victor Oquendo tonight. Victor, thank you. We turn next here to the severe weather at this hour. 11 million Americans at risk tonight from Arkansas all the way up to Massachusetts. 29 reported tornadoes in 4 states already. This one right here in Amber, Oklahoma, and the Kansas City area cleaning up from damaging storms already. And tonight, the threat is not over. Meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all. He's live along the West Side Highway here in New York tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hey, David, that same system bringing the severe weather has pumped up the heat on the East Coast. Record-breaking stuff here now, and actually, we've got some storms that are heading in this way. You see it on the radar scope. Some of these are strong, heading across northern Jersey, stretching across the Hudson and into Connecticut, and a couple of tornado warnings west of Des Moines tonight. Severe thunderstorm watches out in that vicinity. Luckily, this is in a weakening phase after midnight. We will have some storms tomorrow, but not as severe as they have been the past couple of days. And another day of heat, temperatures near 90, might be 3 days in a row for some folks. That would officially be the first official heat wave. David?
Rob Marciano with us again tonight. Rob, thank you. And next year, new developments tonight about that deadly military plane crash in Georgia. Tonight, we know that the flight was supposed to be the plane's last one. And you'll remember this surveillance camera showing the National Guard cargo plane spinning in a nosedive, then exploding into a fireball on the highway below. Tonight, we're learning more about the 9 National Guardsmen who did not survive. ABC's Steve Osunsami is on the scene tonight.
Military investigators are out working in the hot Georgia sun, wearing full-body protective suits, piecing together what happened to this crashed cargo plane outside Savannah.
It went up and to the right in an embankment and then came down in a corkscrew in the middle of 21.
People who saw the plane, seen here, falling nose first into the ground, didn't expect survivors. 9 members of the Puerto Rican National Guard were killed, including their pilot, Major Jose Roman Rosado, who leaves behind 2 young boys and a wife who's pregnant with a baby girl. After today, more than 50 service members have died in these kind of non-combat related air accidents in the last year, most of them stateside, far more than the number of service members killed in actual combat. The Pentagon tonight says it doesn't have a crisis.
This is not a crisis, but it is a crisis for each of these families, and we owe them a full investigation.
The plane was built in 1965 and was headed here to a military graveyard in Arizona.
Steve Osunsami with us again tonight. And Steve, the Pentagon, I know, as you pointed out today, the age of the plane and all these incidents, they addressed the incidents. What did they say?
That's right, David. Pentagon officials tonight say they're concerned about all of these crashes, but at this point, they don't plan any broad review. David?
Steve Osunsami with us from the scene again tonight. Thank you, Steve. Next this evening, on the eve of that possible summit between President Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un, the fate of 3 U.S. hostages are in the news tonight. President Trump raising hopes that North Korea will release them soon, tweeting, "Stay tuned." But tonight here, no official word that they're about to come home. And here's ABC's Chief Global Affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
Anticipation that the 3 remaining American hostages would be released imminently as President Trump is preparing to meet with Kim Jong-un, fueled by the president's new lawyer just this morning.
We got Kim Jong-un impressed enough to be releasing 3 prisoners today.
And President Trump tweeting, the past administration has long been asking for 3 hostages to be released from a North Korean labor camp, but to no avail. Stay tuned. But only one of the detainees was taken under Obama. The other 2 American citizens, who were both teaching in Pyongyang, were arrested just last year.
We try to focus on maybe today he's going to be released.
The State Department would not confirm anything about the release of the prisoners, but a local activist is reporting that the men have been moved from a labor camp to a medical facility. It was just last year that a severely brain-damaged Otto Warmbier died 6 days after he arrived home, his parents filing a wrongful death suit accusing North Korea of torturing their son.
So let's bring in Martha Raddatz with us tonight from Washington. And Martha, I want to get back to what Rudy Giuliani said about the hostages being released today. Sarah Sanders at the White House was asked today why the president's lawyer was talking about the release if he's involved in these negotiations.
Exactly, David. She said she's not aware of Giuliani being involved in those efforts, and she wouldn't confirm any details of a release or when it might happen, but she said it would certainly be a sign of goodwill on the part of North Korea if those Americans are freed. David?
All right, Martha, thank you. Next tonight to an emotional hearing in a Florida court for the sentencing of Gloria Williams, who pleaded guilty to kidnapping a newborn baby girl 20 years ago and raising her as her own. She was confronted today by the baby's birth mother, who shared the heartbreak of losing her daughter in that courtroom. Here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim.
Tonight, the woman accused of kidnapping a baby and raising her as her own coming face to face with that mother.
When they brought her to the room and I held my baby, she was so beautiful. She was so beautiful.
Gloria Williams stole Shanara Mobley's baby from this Florida hospital back in 1998 by posing as a nurse.
I just want to know where my baby is at. I just want my baby back.
That baby raised for 18 years.